All right, let's dive into something that can be incredibly difficult: how to navigate conversations with manipulative people and how to protect your own sanity in the process. Let's get right into it. Sound familiar? If you're nodding along to this, you are definitely not alone. It's that awful, confusing feeling that something is just off, even if you can't explain exactly what it is. And that feeling is often a huge red flag that you're dealing with some very specific manipulative tactics. So, let's get on the same page. The word we're using here is narcissist, which in a clinical sense points to someone with narcissistic personality disorder. And this isn't just about someone who likes to look in the mirror a lot. We're talking about a deep-seated pattern, a huge ego, zero empathy, and a constant desperate need for praise that, ironically, is usually covering up some really massive insecurities. Okay, so before we can figure out how to respond, we first have to understand the game plan we're up against. You see, this kind of manipulation isn't just random chaos. It actually follows a pretty predictable playbook, a set of tactics designed to confuse you, control you, and just totally drain you. First up is the big one, the one you've probably heard of: gaslighting. At its core, this is all about making you doubt yourself, your memory, your sanity, your perception of what's real. By making you question everything, they gain more and more control. It's like a slow, deliberate erosion of your own confidence. And this is what it sounds like. The real power of gaslighting is how simple and constant it is. Little phrases like, "that's not how it happened," or "you're just twisting my words again," they seem so small, but when you hear them day in and day out, they start to work. They make you second-guess your own mind. And that is exactly the goal. Another really powerful tool in their playbook is turning affection into a weapon. In these kinds of relationships, praise and affection aren't real. They're tactics. They're used to get control and then get it back again. And it almost always starts with this over-the-top, feels too good to be true beginning. And this slide just breaks it down perfectly. You've got two key phases. At the very beginning, you have love bombing, this intense storm of attention and gifts that's designed to get you hooked. Then, later on, maybe after a big fight or if you try to leave, it switches to hoovering. And yeah, it's named after the vacuum cleaner because it's designed to do one thing: suck you right back in. All right, now for a really bizarre and just deeply confusing tactic. It's called projection. This is basically a defense mechanism. The narcissist has all these negative feelings or behaviors they can't deal with themselves, so they literally dump them onto you. They accuse you of doing the very thing that they are doing. Let's make this crystal clear with some examples. Imagine they are the one who is secretly furious, but they look at you with a straight face and say, "Why are you so angry all the time?" Or maybe they're the one being unfaithful, so they suddenly start accusing you of cheating. It's a crazy-making way to avoid all responsibility and paint you as the problem. Okay, so we've laid out the playbook. Now for the most important part, the solution. I want you to think of these phrases as a kind of verbal toolkit. They're not for fighting back. They're for protecting your own head and your own heart. And this part is absolutely crucial to understand. The strategy here is not to win the argument. Spoiler alert, you won't. The real goal is to cut off their narcissistic supply. That's the emotional reaction they crave. Your anger, your tears, your pleading. It's what they feed on. So the first set of phrases is all about building a firm boundary. Saying, "your anger is not my responsibility," is incredibly powerful. You're refusing to be their emotional dumping ground. Simple statements like, "I will not engage with this," or "I'm done arguing," draw a clear line in the sand. And the key is, you have to mean it. You have to be ready to walk away. Now, this next set is for de-escalation. These are designed to shut down the conflict without you having to agree with their version of reality. "I hear what you're saying" just means your ears work. It doesn't mean you agree. And "we can agree to disagree" is a calm, final way to just end the conversation. This next phrase is a real game changer. Saying "I can accept how you feel" is very different from saying "you're right." You're acknowledging their emotion, which can sometimes be just enough to calm them down, without ever validating their distorted facts. It's a subtle distinction, but it is so, so important. So, what happens when you actually start using these tools and they start working? What's the aftermath when a narcissist realizes they can't control you anymore? Well, you have to be prepared, because when they feel that control slipping, there's often a backlash. This is a fundamental truth you just have to burn into your brain. Once they lose direct control over you, their focus is going to shift. They will try to control the narrative, your reputation, and how everyone else, friends, family, coworkers, sees you. And that backlash can show up in a lot of ugly ways. They might actively seek revenge or launch a full-on smear campaign to isolate you. They might try to create something called a trauma bond by switching between being awful and being sweet. They'll almost certainly play the victim to get sympathy from others or just lay on the guilt trips thick to pull you back in. Knowing these tactics ahead of time is your best defense. So what is the big takeaway from all this? After digging through all the tactics, all the phrases, all the potential fallout, the most important thing is to shift the focus away from them and back to you, to your own well-being. And here it is. This is probably the most important thing we'll cover. The goal is not to win. It is not to get an apology. And it's definitely not to fix them. The only winning move you have is to protect your own peace. That's it. This quote just says it all, doesn't it? Your power is in understanding what you can and can't control. You can't control their feelings. You can't control their reactions. But you absolutely can control whether or not you accept responsibility for them. And you don't have to, ever. So I'll leave you with this final thought. This isn't about some huge, dramatic change overnight. It's about taking small, steady steps. So think about it. Based on everything we've talked about, what is just one boundary you can set, maybe even today, to start reclaiming your own peace of mind?